Welcome back to another episode of JK Philly. Today we are talking about and giving a review to the Sixers game that we just had against the Celtics. Win 117 to 116. Late game, honestly, by like the third quarter, they were down by like, 15 or something like that. I was getting a little bit hesitant. I had some bets going in. I'm like, let me pull that. I'm not 100% confident on these Sixers right now if they're down by this much. But, we was able to come back. Obviously, some additions from Maxey and Edgecombe, and even, like we were just talking about, Dominic Barlow, of course. Just give me I know we'll go into certain topics, but just give me your overall take of how that Sixers team looked yesterday.
My overall take of that is they looked good. The third quarter, not so much. That's something they have to figure out. It seems like that's been a trend with the Sixers for a long time now, coming out of halftime slow and getting down big, and then spending the end of the third quarter into the beginning of the fourth quarter trying to recover whatever deficit they've accumulated. But no, I think, I don't want to be a pessimist about this first game. Maxey dropped 40. You just got 34 out of your first game from your rookie VJ.
Mm-hmm.
Barlow came in and contributed in the stat sheet in all kinds of different ways. It was a good team win. It's against the Celtics team without Jason Tatum, but there's still a lot of good players there. You saw what Anthony Simons can give them. He's still a very talented player. So all in all, I don't have much negative to say. I'm not going to be too critical about Embiid. Came back from major injury, so I didn't expect him to go out there and drop a triple-double. But no, I thought we looked good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I definitely want to talk about that point. Joel Embiid coming into the game, obviously, like, outside of VJ Edgecombe and the rest of the team that we've known has been in the league already and played a lot, everybody's eyes are on Joel Embiid. Have you really gotten back to a point where we can somewhat be like, okay, Joel looks a little bit better, or he's kind of looking back to where he was at? Just watching him, he looked like he was moving okay, not of course great, but he was still, like his signature is getting that dribble pull up from the free throw range, and he was able to get it up there a couple times. But I think we were watching the game for like the first quarter. It's just he was not really going anywhere other than like the triangle of the top of the key and like maybe the foul line, and that's the only spot that he was at. Obviously, he wasn't really able to hit anything really because he only scored 4 points, but just how he looked, it still looks like he has the good intention of like, I'm still going to shoot this if I have the opportunity to, and I'm still going to shoot this, if I could get somebody to like bite on a pump fake or like catch him off on a dribble or something like that. So I know a lot of critique, I guess. I don't think a lot of people, like true Sixers fans, are like, yeah, Joel Embiid didn't look, Joel Embiid sucks because he just came off of this. I don't think a lot of Sixers fans are like that, or if anybody's really like that, but just you can still see it within him, really getting that rust off and just trying to come back into it. But let's, outside of Joel Embiid, because I thought there'd be a little bit more to talk, but really there isn't. Just tell me what you think about VJ. Like, obviously, super hot start to the game, coming off. I think the first time he touched the ball was when he caught it on the wing, and then he drove down the slot, and then he passed it out to, I think it was Kelly Oubre in the corner that hit like their first three of the game or something like that. And just from right there, I'm like, okay, he at least has the eyes to see that, because I'm thinking of a rookie, obviously, in like a lottery pick of, shit, I got the ball, I'm about to cut from the wing, I'm about to go try to, get the layup or go dunk on somebody, but he was smart enough to kick that out. Obviously, that's basketball, but kick it out, go for the three. But just tell me what you think about VJ, what you saw from him last night.
I saw nothing but good signs from Edgecombe last night. The thing that really stood out to me first was, man, that first step off is so quick, man. He gets into that paint so fast from that three-point line. That first step is explosive, and we already knew he had the athleticism. We've watched the 100 million dunks he had in college. We knew what he can do when he gets to the rim, but his ability to get there as quickly as he gets there really stood out to me. And also, one of the big knocks on him was they were concerned about his shooting. I don't think he'll shoot that well from three every game, especially not as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
But the form looks good. It's not a three-point shot that goes up and you're like, oh, God, that's... Like, I used to watch Matisse Thybulle throw up threes, and I'd go, well, that's certainly not going in.
Right.
VJ Edgecombe has a good form to him. It looks like a shot that he could consistently hit. It looks the same every time he releases the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And he's quick, man. He's quick. He's athletic. And what he did was his ability to drive and your ability to kick out to him. That floor just opened back up for Maxey. There was so much space for Maxey to get to the rim last night that just did not exist last season. Maxey would try to drive, and there'd be 4 people in the paint, but you can already see, and we haven't even gotten McCain back and maybe Paul George, but all that's going to do is open the floor up for Maxey. I expect Maxey to have a huge season if these other guys stay healthy around him and the floor can be spaced out.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely wanted to mention McCain just for when he does come back. And sort of a little bit of relation to him, what we saw last year of like Jared McCain came in, I don't know if everybody was hesitant. I was sort of a little bit hesitant of like, I don't know how his game's going to look besides Maxey. And then just coming in and really playing, I don't even know what Maxey was playing, if it was 1 or 2, but just playing, it looked like more of a 2 of just being ready to shoot Jared McCain, just being ready to like drive to the basket. Like I didn't know he had that mid-range game within him and even getting like all the way to the basket. So that was really surprising. And then outside of that, and then now seeing VJ kind of do the same thing and honestly looks way more athletic than a Jared McCain. Like that's just going to be a crazy backcourt when we have the 3 of them. Yes, they're rookies. Yes, it's his second year, but still, like that is something to definitely look forward to. And obviously, Quentin Grimes didn't have a terrible game, but it wasn't up to par of like what we were seeing towards the end of the season last year. Obviously, time comes into all that, and we understand it's the end of the season. Quentin Grimes coming into the season didn't have a good first game, but he's definitely going to show up. He definitely looks like he hasn't skipped a beat either. Shot just didn't fall. But I think that was a good showing. I think, like you said, he's not going to do that every single game, VJ, but he's definitely going to be at least a threat if that continues to happen against these bad teams of like, hey, if Nick Nurse continues to put this kid in the starting lineup and he is going to shoot the ball whenever he touches it or he has an opportunity for a good look, like we're going to have to start putting him in the scouting report of like, we got to get a guy out of there, which just helps even spread the floor even more for, teams that we actually have to play against. But I think a lot of what last night was as well is that nobody's really, like people are, but nobody's really like talking about Maxey getting that 40 ball for the first game. Like, what do you think about Maxey? Obviously you said it's like a little bit more space for him, but just like his 3 ball looks really good too. I just want to know what you think about him.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, VJ breaking the Sixers rookie first game record kind of overshadowed what was a tremendous game from Maxey. Need more of that. I was critical of Maxey last year, but I understood. It felt like he was forcing a lot of shots and, just rushing. And like I said, throwing up stuff in the paint when there's 3 guys in there that were kind of like circus shots and just not really what Maxey needs to do to get his game off. But last night you saw it in full go. Like I said, that's why you could already see the floor spacing with just somebody added to the team like VJ, who after the first 5 minutes of the game, the Celtics realized like, oh, okay, this kid's going to drive to the rim and shoot threes when he's open. He's not. There was no timid play in VJ's game, and as soon as those eyes had to look over to his side of the court, you could just see what it did for Maxey. It opened everything up. He looked good. He was getting to the rim at will last night, and I know this isn't the Celtics team of the past years. It's still not a bad team. It's funny how they lost Jason Tatum, and now all of a sudden they're just this terrible basketball team, and people act like I heard Celtics fans on Twitter talking about like, oh, they're celebrating beating us. I'm like, well, you still got some good basketball players.
Yeah,
like, damn, have y'all given up that much? But no, Maxey looked great. I expect a really big year from him. It almost went too well, man. If every game goes like this, we're going to have a good year. I will say defensively, especially in that third quarter, it didn't look like we could stop anything. So we'll have to figure something out with that. But offensively, they looked great all game, especially Maxey. And I think if it wasn't for Edgecombe coming in and having that first career crazy game like that, we'd be talking a lot more about what Maxey just did.
For sure, yeah. I just want to point out that fact of, like his shot production the other night. And I know we keep saying last night. We're recording the day before or the day after last night, so it's a little bit. I'm trying to like recoup all my thoughts about is why I'm saying that. But just the way that his shot looked, it did look like last year. He was pulling up like crazy. He like I think his first three was like way behind the 3-point line. But when it hits like that, it hits like that, and you can't really say anything. But it is those shot tendencies of like, okay, Maxi, like I'm glad you hit those shots last night, but some of those were a little bit wild. A lot of it is like, who are you going to depend on out there? Obviously, other than Joel Embiid, if you're coming off, like they do that screen over the top of the key and you give it right to Maxi, of course you're going to have that opportunity to shoot because Joel's not rolling. But we're going to still have to flex that out. Obviously, with VJ, hopefully, you got a little bit more confidence to like drive it, kick it out to him. Because if he was driving last year, he really didn't have anybody to kick it out to other than Kelly Oubre, who's wishy-washy, and then a Ricky Council who was shooting the moon out. So we'll see how the team progresses. Like you said, it did go really well, so I would like to see like how they come back against like a little bit better of a team. I don't think the game tomorrow is really going to show that side because I think the Hornets and what the Celtics are right now maybe is closer than what it usually is. Obviously a healthy LaMelo Ball and a healthy Brandon Miller. I don't know if you saw the game. Obviously it was against the Nets, so it wasn't anything spectacular. But what is your percentage in your mind that we could come out with a win tomorrow against a Hornets team that looks pretty healthy and has all their main guys playing?
I'm not a Hornets guy. I think anything other than a win should be a disappointment against the Hornets. I think they have good players. I'm a fan of Brandon Miller. I think he keeps getting better. I like watching LaMelo Ball, but I've yet to see LaMelo Ball's play really translate into winning basketball. He takes a lot of wild shots. He's kind of like Maxey in a way, only in the sense that them wild shots are going to keep coming. Like you said, like it's nice when LaMelo's hitting those crazy arcing threes and like he's having one of those games, but I've seen plenty of games where that three's not falling and it's the third quarter and that score's starting to get to 12, 15 point deficit and LaMelo's still out there behind the back, under the leg, step back, rainbow three.
Yeah.
I'd like to see the Hornets. I've never seen a competitive Hornets or even before Hornets Bobcats team when they were the Charlotte Bobcats team. Like in my life, there was like a year or two there where they were an okay team.
Yeah.
But they've always been terrible. It'd be nice for that fan base to see them put something together. I'm a fan of some of their good young players. I thought they drafted decent this year, but they've been so bad my entire life. I can't until they show me something. I can't be a Hornets fan. I can't think they're going to win, and I will always think you should beat a team like the Hornets every time you play them.
For sure. I definitely agree with you for most of the season. Obviously, when they have a game like they did the other night and a win against the Brooklyn Nets team who has absolutely nobody to even care about on that roster, they like you could see like, okay, I could see where this could look good. Obviously, there are a few pieces, a few like organizational needs that they need for that team. But just like the young depth that they have on the team, like I obviously really like LaMelo. I love Brandon Miller. I love his game. Miles Bridges as a person, I don't care for him, but as a basketball player, he seems like, he can really, he's still athletic. He's still going to get up the floor and, like try to help out within the team. And then even, I know the people don't really matter too much, but like a Colin Sexton coming off the bench and a Trey Mann who was really good in the beginning of last season. Like I feel like they have a lot of good young talent. They just don't know how to put it together. And against a team like the Sixers, obviously, if Joel has another game like that and then Maxey and VJ come down a little bit, it should be, I would assume, a closer of a game if that's how it's going to look against the Hornets team this year. But I'm excited to watch that game. With just a side question outside of Sixers, just because I'm curious. With this Hornets team, and I know you're not high on them, but with what I kind of just explained with that team and the organizational piece and the health side, do you think that the Hornets could be fighting for a play-in, or do you think they're going to be similar to how they were last year? But last year they were really hurt, so I understand that. But this year, if they stay healthy, how do you think that team will look?
I think they'll be a better team this year. With health, if they stay healthy, because like you named some of the players, as down as I just was on the Hornets, there's probably more NBA players on this Hornets team than there has been in years past. Like you said, you got Trey Mann and you got guys like Colin Sexton coming off the bench. Yeah, when you play the Hornets be plucking dudes off the bench who you have never heard of in your damn life.
Right.
So there's more talent on that team than there ever has been. And with as terrible as the East looks like it might be this year, I wouldn't surprise me. There's not a team in the East other than the Nets I don't think could fight for one of those playoff spots. And that doesn't necessarily mean I think they're good teams. I just think there's a lack of good teams in the East this year. So, we've seen years in the East where teams with 500 or 2 games under 500 are fighting for the 8 seed. And, now with the play-in, that just extends that even further. So, I could see a 500 Hornets team or a Hornets team that's a game over or 3 under or something like that fighting for a playoff spot or a play-in spot late.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm just curious because I don't think, especially when they're healthy, I don't think that they're like one of the worst teams in the East right now. Obviously, one game has been played. I understand that, but just with the roster that they have, I feel like they're going to do a little bit better this year. But yeah, that's all I really have for you. Appreciate you guys for watching. We're going to continue with the uploads on the Sixers. I guarantee you that it will not be all 82 games, but we will definitely try to stay as in touch as we can with the Sixers this year. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe and check out the next video. We'll talk to you.